I guess I want to switch from. I know we talk about commercials a lot. Your short film, Please Send Help. Just the trailer just came out today, right? I think you just
It
posted
it
it.
did. It did. Yes, I did.
Oh, dude, congratulations! That's
Thanks,
really
man.
exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know how this
What?
is. I mean, you just did a
Yeah.
film, and it's like, well, you've done a couple of little things in a row, but yeah, like it's amazing how much work goes into just
Oh, it's
like,
insane.
yeah, we shot it over a
It's
year ago,
insane.
and it's just like a little 15-minute film, but it like, you just
Right.
to get it right, and you're paying the money. It's like you just want to take the time to do it. So
What was the idea? Or like, what was the basis of this film? Why did you create it? What was the conception of it?
yeah, I think well, there's probably two answers. There's like the broader answer of like, I need to do this to survive. I need this. I need to like,
Mm. Is
so
this your creative energy talking? Like you need the creative energy to survive? Yeah.
yeah. I'm not like dying. It's a metaphor. It's a creative
Right,
metaphor.
right.
I think again, like to go back to commercials, it's like there's a specific outcome to what we are doing, on set those days, and
Sure.
there's some expectations involved and there's money involved, and that all makes sense. And I think that that's reasonable and fair, and we are signing up for that. Um, I also think there's another part of creativity, and we read about that creativity and we see other people do it that just needs to be pure and needs to come from the
Mm,
heart, and it needs to like not focus on the outcome. It just needs to be true. And I think
mm,
like every pretty much about every year I just have to do something like that because it just you got to. It's like the only way to really like reconnect with what you do and what you love and why you love it. So that said, that I had was working on that and writing that script for a bit, but the genesis sort of really came from a friend breakup, which is weird.
mm.
I had a close friend of mine who was also a DP, and we kind of went separate ways. A little bit of a, I'm not going to get into it, but it's just like
Yeah, no, you don't have to.
just a hard thing that I never really had to deal with. I've had like real
Mm,
breakups before with girlfriends. I've dealt with, deaths, friends have died and my dog has died. But like the friendship breakup, I had never like broken up with a guy friend. And it kind of is on a similar tragic level of like, this person was so intertwined in my life and now he's
mm.
gone. And I think that like really shook me in a time where I was grieving a little bit. And so I was like, I need to write about this. And so I kind of came up with this story, and we use a character. The character's name is Seth, and he breaks up with a girlfriend just to kind of make it a little bit more
Sure.
accessible. Although there's might be a script soon about a friendship breakup, but yeah, it was just kind of a way to kind of work through some of those feelings and process
It's like a
that.
form of therapy for you in a sense?
Yeah, I think I don't think I really was conscious that I was doing it specifically for that. I think I
Mm,
just like was really connected to this idea of this guy being like super depressed and looking for comfort from his brother, which, could be a proxy for my brother or, other friends that I've got. But I think it wasn't until like it started to come together in the edit that I was like, oh, I guess we're kind of processing um
hold
this
on one
thing that happened.
second.
Oh yeah.
I think you need to refresh your page real quick. It says your Wi-Fi might be doing a little something. All right, sorry for the technical difficulties. So we were talking about Danny's film, Please Send Help. And the one thing I noticed within the trailer was how simplistic, I guess, the approach is. And I think this is something I've also learned from your cousin, Danny Gewirtz. And his approach is very simple. And he really, I've learned a lot from him in terms of simplifying things to be able to get a great product and do do things within your means and not overextend yourself in a certain way. And I'm curious how much of that was conscious. Like, I'm going to create a short film, but I'm not going to do extravagant things, you know, way beyond the means of what this story is, or what the budget I have entails. Like, how much was that conscious to be able to create a great story, just simplify it?
Yeah, it was pretty conscious. I think one, I think budget was a good point, which is that like these things cost money, and so the more extravagant it is, the more it costs. And when you're self funding a project, you certainly want to pay attention to that. But I think more than that, sort of the movies that I connect with are similar to this. They're more about the human condition. They're more about what it's like to live, and they're cinematic and they look beautiful, but the camera doesn't really get in the way. It's really about the characters connecting, and so that was a really specific choice. Now I'm writing another script right now that's a little bit more involved, that might require some magical and mystical elements that require some interesting movement and some lighting that doesn't really exist in our world. So I think that there's projects for that, obviously.
Yeah.
What I loved about I Think I'm Sick is, it's funny to hear you say that Danny Gewirtz has sort of a simplistic approach. And I do agree to a degree that that's true, but I think that you guys you had a really nice balance of mixing in some like interesting movement that feels authentic to the story. I think like some interesting lighting techniques that I was like you're paying, can I just gush for 1 second? I'm saying this after watching the trailer 100 times, but like when I watch the movie, this stuff isn't crossing my mind because the movie's just that good. It's not a movie where I'm like, hey, my friends made this. You're watching the movie and you're like, oh shit, this is just
It's
a
a real
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is like the highest praise I can give. And you know that because you're a DP and you watch movies and you're like, I'm watching how they're lighting this,
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So kudos to you guys.
To add on to that, I think, we did all those screenings all over the country, and the best compliment that I received from it was that people were asking me, did you light anything? Like, did you even light anything? Or like, I didn't even notice the lighting, or I didn't notice the cinematography and all. And I think that was like, obviously cinematography is important to me. It's what I want to do, and I want to show a beautiful image. But I think that was probably the best compliment for this film, was just like, it wasn't a distraction for people.
No, not at all. I think that's great. Yeah. I mean, you're making me blush.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's so great. I think
Yeah,
the other part about Please Send Help that's like about being conscious of the choices to be fairly simple is that it reflects the mood of the characters in the movie. It's about a breakup, and the other brother had gone through a divorce, so he's helping the other brother through it. But then we shot this montage element that kind of happens towards the end of the film, and that was like very deliberately the opposite. So it's way more handheld and run and gun and out of focus, and sort of meant to feel like a recap of the whole relationship. So I think like, again, it can play, you can play both sides of it, but it almost seems like you're asking the questions in terms of like, everything kind of seems authentically lit. Like it's all just kind of, elevated realism to a degree, or naturalism.
Exactly.
Yeah.